Human behavior is not random. It's governed by deep-seated psychological principles, shortcuts our brains use to navigate a complex world. Understanding these shortcuts is the key to unlocking the art of persuasion. This isn't about manipulation. It's about the fundamental science of how we connect, communicate, and influence one another. We will now explore the 7 most powerful principles of persuasion, each a trigger for automatic, predictable human responses. The first, and perhaps most foundational, is the law of reciprocity. At its core, this law dictates that we feel an obligation to give back to others the form of behavior they have first given to us. This isn't just a social nicety. It's a powerful survival mechanism that allowed our ancestors to build networks of trust. When someone gives you a gift, offers a concession, or does you a favor, a psychological debt is created. The discomfort of this indebtedness is so strong that we are often compelled to repay it, frequently with more than we received. Think about the free sample at a store. It's not just a taste, it's a tiny gift that creates a subtle obligation. You feel more compelled to buy the product, not just because you liked it, but to relieve the social debt. A more advanced application of this is the rejection then retreat technique. You start with a large, almost unreasonable request that you expect to be rejected. After the person says no, you retreat to a smaller, more reasonable request, the one you actually wanted all along. The other person perceives your second request as a concession and feels a powerful urge to reciprocate with a concession of their own, which is to say yes. For example, a fundraiser might first ask for a $100 donation. When you refuse, they immediately follow up with, "I understand. Would you perhaps consider a $25 donation to help us out?" The shift from 100 to 25 feels like a gift, a concession you must now reciprocate. This principle thrives on the feeling of obligation, a force that can often override our rational judgment of the request itself. The second law is scarcity. Things are more attractive when their availability is limited. This principle works on 2 psychological fronts: our desire for freedom and our use of availability as a heuristic for quality. When something becomes less available, we perceive a loss of our freedom to have it, a phenomenon known as psychological reactance. We react against this restriction by wanting the item even more. Secondly, we often assume that if something is rare or hard to get, it must be valuable. This is why limited time offer, only a few left in stock, and exclusive access are such powerful marketing phrases. They trigger our fear of missing out, or FOMO. But scarcity isn't just about quantity. It can also be about time, a deadline for a sale, or exclusive information. Hearing a stock tip from a well-connected source feels more valuable because the information itself is scarce. To apply this, you must highlight genuine scarcity. What is unique about your offer? Is there a real deadline? Is access truly limited? False scarcity can backfire and destroy trust. A powerful example is the sold-out concert. The value of the ticket skyrockets, not because the band is suddenly better, but because access has become impossible for the majority. The desire to be one of the few who got in becomes overwhelming. This principle taps into our primal fear of loss and our competitive nature. The third law is authority. We are hardwired to follow the lead of credible, knowledgeable experts. This is a mental shortcut that, for the most part, serves us well. We listen to doctors about our health and mechanics about our cars. The challenge is that our brain often relies on symbols of authority rather than a deep analysis of substance. Titles like doctor or professor, uniforms, and even expensive suits or luxury cars can trigger a blind deference. A famous experiment conducted by Stanley Milgram showed that ordinary people were willing to administer what they believed were painful, even lethal, electric shocks to another person simply because a man in a lab coat authoritatively told them to. This illustrates the terrifying power of perceived authority. To ethically leverage this, you must first establish your credibility. What is your expertise? What are your credentials, your experience, your proven track record? You must signal this expertise before you attempt to influence. A dentist hangs their diplomas on the wall for a reason. A consultant publishes a white paper. It's not about boasting. It's about providing the necessary signals so that your audience can comfortably take the mental shortcut of trusting an expert. It's crucial, however, that the authority is relevant. A celebrity endorsement for a mattress only works if we believe they genuinely care about sleep, not just the paycheck. True authority combines expertise with trustworthiness. The fourth law is commitment and consistency. Humans have a deep-seated, almost obsessive desire to be, and to appear, consistent with what we have already done. Once we make a choice or take a stand, we encounter personal and interpersonal pressure to behave consistently with that commitment. This is driven by our need to avoid cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort of holding contradictory beliefs or values. The key to leveraging this is to secure a small, initial commitment. This is the foot-in-the-door technique. If you can get someone to agree to a small request, they will be far more likely to agree to a larger, related request later. Why? Because they now see themselves as the kind of person who supports that cause or takes that action. A political campaign might first ask you to sign a petition. A week later, they ask for a small donation. You are more likely to donate because you have already through your signature, committed to the idea that you support this candidate. The most powerful commitments are those that are active, public, and voluntary. When you write something down, you are more likely to believe it. When you state a goal publicly, you feel more pressure to achieve it. When you believe you made a choice of your own free will, without external pressure, you take ownership of it and will defend it vigorously. This is why salespeople often have you fill out the agreement yourself. That physical act of writing creates a stronger commitment than a simple verbal yes. The fifth law is liking. Unsurprisingly, we are more likely to be influenced by people we like. But what makes us like someone? Science points to several key factors. First is physical attractiveness. We tend to subconsciously assign favorable traits like talent, kindness, and intelligence to good-looking individuals. Second is similarity. We like people who are like us in terms of opinions, personality traits, background, or lifestyle. This is why a skilled persuader will try to find common ground with you before making a request. Third are compliments. We are phenomenal suckers for flattery, even when we suspect it might be insincere. It creates a subconscious liking and rapport. Fourth is contact and cooperation. We like things that are familiar to us, and we especially like people with whom we have worked towards a common goal. This is the principle behind team-building exercises. Finally, there's association. We develop positive or negative feelings for things or people based on what they are associated with. This is why advertisers pair their products with attractive models and positive imagery. The good feelings we have for the model transfer over to the product. To use this principle, focus on building genuine rapport. Find authentic similarities, offer sincere praise, and work collaboratively. People are not just buying a product or an idea. They are buying from someone they like and trust. The sixth law is social proof. We are social creatures, and one of the primary ways we determine what is correct is by finding out what other people think is correct. Especially when we are uncertain, we look to the actions and behaviors of others to determine our own. This is the power of testimonials, reviews, and case studies. When you see a restaurant with a long line outside, you automatically assume the food must be good. When a product has thousands of five-star reviews, you feel more confident in your purchase. The principle is most powerful when the social proof comes from people we perceive as being similar to us. A testimonial from someone in your same industry or with your same problem is far more persuasive than a generic one. However, social proof can also have a dark side, as seen in the bystander effect, where, in an emergency, if no one else is acting, individuals will also refrain from acting, assuming it must be the correct behavior. To apply this ethically, you must showcase genuine evidence of others who have benefited from your idea or product. Use real numbers. Over 1 million satisfied customers. Use real stories. Here's how Sarah, a small business owner just like you, tripled her revenue. You are effectively telling your audience, look at all the other people, just like you, who have made this choice. It's a safe and smart decision. Finally, the seventh, and arguably most profound law, is unity. This goes beyond mere liking or similarity. Unity is about shared identity. It's the feeling of we, of being part of the same tribe. When we perceive someone as being one of us, their ability to influence us skyrockets. This is the most primal form of persuasion because it bypasses logic and speaks directly to our sense of belonging. The two most powerful creators of unity are kinship and shared location or experience. We feel an automatic bond with our family, our community, our nation. We are more likely to help someone who went to the same university or grew up in the same town. This feeling of we makes us feel that the other person has our best interests at heart. Persuaders can cultivate this by using language that emphasizes a shared identity. Instead of saying you, they say we. They invoke common roots, shared enemies, or a collective future. A leader might say, we are all in this together, creating a powerful sense of shared purpose that makes requests feel like contributions to the tribe rather than impositions. By understanding and appealing to this shared identity, you can build a level of influence that is deeper and more resilient than any other. Mastering these 7 principles isn't a shortcut to getting what you want. It's a roadmap to understanding the core of human connection. By applying them ethically and authentically, you don't just become more persuasive, you become a more effective and empathetic communicator, capable of building consensus, inspiring action, and forging stronger, more meaningful relationships. If you found this exploration of human psychology valuable, subscribe and click the notification bell for more deep dives into the science of behavior and influence. And in the comments below, share which of these principles you've seen play the most powerful role in your own life.